I start with announcing a committee which is going over to Goa today, a committee which has been formed by the President of the party, Shri Nitin Gadkari, the committee which is being rushed to Goa to investigate into the police excesses being committed there against scheduled tribes. 2 protesting scheduled tribes have been burnt to death. And an MLA who was with them just narrowly escaped, but who was very severely manhandled. In Goa, for the last 10 days, an issue which was affecting the tribal population there has been raging because the tribals were demanding that the government meet their demands, 12 of which have been spoken about for quite some time. But on that fateful day, the district collector had gone at around 12:15 to meet the agitators and speak to them about the minister concerned who would meet them sometime in the afternoon. The delegation and the protesters and the agitators, all of them did go and meet and wanted to talk to them. In fact, they were given the impression after talking that 8 of the 12 demands have been agreed to and that the chief minister of the state would meet them at 6 in the evening. Having given that kind of a confidence and trust to the protesting agitators, and when the agitators went back and moved away from the specific place where they were seated, but to a nearby place, but quietly seated without having major work done, they were sitting in, as it were, just waiting to meet the chief minister in the evening. But suddenly came a troop of policemen who thrashed them, who really sort of took them into, as it were, custody, but apparently handed them over to a set of gundas who attacked them very severely. And later on, when they went over to a cooperative society's office where they were all seated, unfortunately also called Adarsh Cooperative Society of some sort, where they were seated, again the set of policemen came, attacked them, and somebody in the group set fire, and as a result of which the police went in, manhandled the MLA who was trying to run away from there, Ramesh Tavadkar, caught hold of 2 of the protesters and, as we are told, threw them back into the fire. The protesters' families have refused to take the bodies back till investigation is completed. The situation is absolutely tense and worrisome. If Goa government thinks that they can handle scheduled tribes in this way, who had been given by that very government a hope that the chief minister would meet them, a hope that their demands are being met, are being misguided and the police themselves have handed them over to a set of goons who attacked them later, we really don't understand what is going on in Goa. The president therefore thought it fit that he would send a delegation to find the facts there and come back and report to him. They will be leaving today. This committee will be headed by Shri Fagan Singh Khulaste, who is the president of the SC Morcha. The other 2 members are an MLA from Gujarat, Ram Singh Rathwa, and the secretary of the party here, Shri Bhupendra Yadav, who is a senior advocate in the Supreme Court. So these three people constitute the team who would be going today to Goa to actually come back with a fact-finding report, which will be submitted to the president of the party. Sorry, the second member is an ex-MP from Gujarat. On this issue, we demand that a judicial inquiry be instituted immediately to inquire into what actually happened on that day. How could these two people be charged to death? And how could an MLA be manhandled by the police there? And what were the gundas doing with the police? Is the police reporting to these gundas rather than doing their job? What exactly is happening in Goa? If this is the fate of agitators, scheduled tribes, who have been met by their district collector, and the concerned officials had given them a promise that 8 of their 12 demands will be met and the chief minister would meet them in the evening, can be treated like this and burnt to death, it is utterly shocking. We demand a judicial inquiry, immediate arrest of those culprits who were involved in this grave crime, immediate arrest also of the person who manhandled the MLA, and the Goa government should release an official statement of this. An official statement explaining as to what exactly happened that day. So that's about Goa. The second issue is about the official and not so official history of the Congress party, about which there is a lot of debate nowadays. Apparently, a set of volumes of Congress party's history, as we all know, was released during the plenary, is coming for public commentary now with many people reading them. But what has come out today through the media is very interesting. And the messages which come out of it actually do explain a lot about Congress party's attitude, conduct of business in political spectrum, and therefore for us to understand that UPA 2, which is being led by that Congress party, which is in no way better or different from the Congress of Mrs. Indira Gandhi's time. The mindset which prevailed during the emergency, the mindset which was dominated by arrogance, which the official history has very clearly pointed out, was the cause for its defeat. Subsequently, it is not even revived, has been mentioned in the book, written by eminent historians and scholars, independent professors who come from universities, who, even though the disclaimer is being repeatedly pointed out to us, have been commissioned by the Congress party, and apparently the editor-in-chief of this whole history which has come out in series of books is Sri Pranab Mukherjee himself. So if the disclaimers are being given, and if he is still there as the editor printed in the volumes, is this or is this not the official history of the Congress party? It is a party where internal democracy is never known, and therefore it is easier for them to pick on any kind of discussion which happens anywhere else, forgetting the kind of contradictions with which its own leadership works. Don't we all know? Even on tackling issues such as the Maoist rebellion, there was no unanimity of opinion. There was a difference between the Home Minister, there's a difference between the President of the Congress party who was writing in Sandesh, and a difference also between the opinion of one of the General Secretaries who went about talking about what Maoists are actually doing. Whether it is a question of difference even on such an issue, they don't have a singular opinion. Similarly, there is no opinion, single opinion or common opinion between the NAC, which is not even provided in the constitution of a country. Today it is invested with quite a lot of powers to suggest a lot of reforms in this country. The NAC does not have common points with the PMO. You have on critical issues the two fighting each other. So, with this kind of an internal contradiction within the Congress party, and that which is now officially recorded in the history that has been published, I think the Congress party needs to do a lot of introspection about the value of internal democracy, its attitude towards public policy in the country, about how it deals with opposition party in the country, about how it deals with smaller parties in the country, and about how it torments in insidious ways which cannot even be picked up and said, oh, you've gone against the constitution. In ways which cannot even be picked up, it harasses political parties. And for that Congress party today, there is an official version which it can go about denying, saying it's not official, when a senior party of its own, when a senior leader of its own party is sitting as the editor. So the Congress party, if anything, has improved its image in terms of corruption. Now it can handle multi-layered, multi-graded and multi-dimensional corruption and also say it is not their fault, which probably was not the case earlier. And therefore today, this set of volumes which have come out actually raises a lot of relevant issues for the Congress party to look at itself internally and see if democratic norms are being followed within its own party. And tell us also a minor answer, if you can, if anybody other than the Gandhi family member can become the party president in the near future. So there are critical issues which are mattering, critical issues which are important for democracy, for inner party democracy, which the Congress has to seriously take up, coming out of its own so-called not so official a report, or not so official a document. The third issue that we want to raise is the way in which the Delhi government is responding to the Shunglu committee report. We have repeatedly talked about this, that much before the report was read, the Delhi government had already passed its own indictment of the Shunglu committee's report. Shunglu committee, which was appointed by the Prime Minister himself to look into the series of corruption scandal which came out of the Commonwealth Games, even as it was about to start. Now, if the Prime Minister thought it fit to appoint a committee which went into this whole matter, here is a government which is run by the Congress party, which defies much before reading it, which defies subsequently, and which says it has to look into the committee's report as though it is possible for any one of us to say anyone who inspects me or audits me will have to be audited first by me and then I would give a report on it. Is it possible? Is it fitting under the framework of justice? Shunglu committee has indicted the Delhi government. It has indicted the sports ministry. It has indicted the urban development ministry, the lieutenant governor of Delhi. There's quite a lot of information in it, and there was an assurance given that action will be taken. We want action to be taken at the earliest based on the Shunglu committee report, and we do not want any more toing and froing between the government and the Delhi government on this. High time that action is taken, or else we fear evidences, vital evidences are being lost. Thank you.